What's up, everybody? Welcome to Gamescast. Now, I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about 5 things Life is Strange did wrong. So this is a new thing we're doing for Gamescast. Now, I wanted to start it with kind of a polarizing game in Life is Strange, a game that I absolutely adore, but it did make some mistakes. And so we're basically going to talk about 5 mistakes or 5 things that the game did wrong. So here we go. We're going to go kind of from the things that don't bother me as much to the things that bother me more and more. Number 5 being the mouth movements, the kind of like lip syncing. They were not very good. They're not good at all, actually. Even though the game is pretty old at this point, still, even at the time that it released, numerous very, very amazing games, especially visual games, had already come out by then. We were, in the midst of the next generation of consoles, and it didn't really take advantage of it. Now, I get it. Don't Nod at the time, smaller studio. This was a game that they threw together. They had a lot of passion for it. They really, before then, had not really made anything of note, like at all, especially of quality. And you could argue, and I have argued, that since then, they've made almost nothing of any quality since Life is Strange. But there's even stories to it that they spent a lot of money on the voice acting, having Ashley Birch as Chloe. That's, not just her, but that's just one example. There was a lot of voice actors needed, and they spent a lot of money on trying to do the best they could at getting the voice actors, and then they were left with little money to do the actual animations. That's their story. I believe it. I buy it. I understand why. You know what I mean? So it doesn't make me insanely frustrated, but still, I love this game. So going back and playing it, it definitely is something that is there. It's like, ooh, like, why can't they just work? And especially when you see the games that have come since it, Before the Storm from Deck 9 did such an amazing job, I think, visually upgrading it. And then obviously what they did with Season 2, definitely visually took it to the next level. I would love a kind of Life is Strange remaster in the engine or the improvements that they've made the future games or the games that came after it. I don't think we will ever get that, but that is definitely something that bothered me. Number 4 is Chloe, and the only reason I'm putting this here is because when I made so many Life is Strange 2 videos, the community was definitely very, very vocal that they did not like Chloe. So I wanted to try to have this reflect what you guys have said as well. I want to have these kind of these Gamescast topics where I talk about problems with the games. I want it to be because what you guys thought was wrong with it as well. And Chloe was definitely a thing that a lot of you have said. Now, in my opinion, here's the deal. In my opinion, I really didn't have a problem with Chloe. I thought she was well done. I get very, very bratty. I understand that. I get that she could even get annoying. But that was part of her character, in my opinion. I see why they did it. However, I understand. I do get why people do not like Chloe. People also didn't even like Max. I love Max. I think she's a fantastic protagonist. I'm not gonna say anything negative about her. And seeing Max and Chloe just in the picture in the beginning of episode 5 of season 2 of Life is Strange, just that brought me back and had so much emotion just in seeing their faces again that, again, I don't want to talk bad about Max at all. And even Chloe, I'm just putting it because I know a lot of you guys don't like it. I really liked, I didn't necessarily like her. I liked the relationship she had with Max. Even the relationship she had with Rachel, even though Rachel wasn't there the entire time, I liked that as well. So maybe on her own, her brat-like nature, that kind of stuff, but she had trauma and she had stuff that happened to her that I could totally believe and understand why she is who she is or why she does what she does. I get it. But again, I think the relationship between Max and Chloe was phenomenal. I will not ever agree if somebody says that that's not the case. I can understand why you would say that she had problems by herself, though. I do get that. Number 3 is the gameplay stuff. So the game hasn't, basically how you play these games hasn't changed all that much, even from episode 1 of season 1 of Life is Strange, right? From that through Before the Storm, through Adventures of Captain Spirit, through season 2, like all that stuff, it's remained largely the same. I would say you get a little bit more to do, and you're doing more stuff in general with season 2. Now, I'm not talking about the time stuff, her controlling time. I actually think that gameplay mechanic is really, really awesome and really smart, just something that they didn't really take advantage of. So if I kind of want to twist what I mean with this, I mean, besides the time stuff, some of the stuff was pretty boring. I really despise the whole, like, when you had to find the bottles in the junkyard scene. I hate that to this day. I hated it back then. I couldn't find them, and maybe it's just me being dumb, but I also just flat out could not find them the first time or even second time I played the game. But like stuff like that, kind of like fetch questing ish things in a game like this, that made me upset. But the time travel stuff, or using time, manipulating time, I liked it. I think they were onto something, and my God, if they just continued with Max, I think it could have been so much expanded of what you can do with time, or how you allow the player to use time. I think they were onto something great. I think they started it really strong. I just think that they could have added to it a little bit more. Now, the final two things are very, very much connected. The number one thing, I'm going to skip number two. I'm going to say it right after this. The number one thing is ending it on two endings, having everything come down to two endings. And with that, a direct line with that is failing theorists. I wrote on my paper. I wrote failing theorists. And what I mean by that is this game was so special because of two reasons. In my opinion, this is what made the game special to me. One was the game itself. Obviously, you can't really have emotions or feelings or even discussions about a game if the game itself didn't exist in the first place. So the game, I think, did a very good job in a lot of different ways to keep itself up. The second reason why that time period was so special to me, why the game was so special to me, is online. This is when a lot of people came out, even like Geek Remix, they came out and they had so many theories about this game, about, all these time travel possibilities, who these characters were. Remember, we weren't even sure if Max was truly Max, right? Because she had the shirt, like the Jane Doe thing, which it seemed like the developers knew, and that's the biggest thing. There were so many theories, so many good theories, so many hints, so many things that people found in this game that was like, why are they, that old lady that was behind the bar or the diner that was talking to you, that so many people thought was Max? And there was a lot of not necessarily credible information. There was so many very tiny things, very subtle things, but very interesting things that I think elevated this game. And to that, the game itself was one part, but what people took from it and said what basically it could have been, like in future episodes, that was the other part. And I honestly feel like they failed that. It's tough to talk about it because I have such respect and such love for those kind of things, and it does kind of suck because I do like the game. I actually love Episode 5. I think Episode 5 is the best episode of the whole thing. The ending, no. I mean, I'm okay with the choice. I'm okay with having that as a choice in general. To have the whole game, all 5 episodes, lead to that choice where truly nothing else you did really mattered at all. It was just you choose one of two things, and the relationship between what happens after that doesn't change based off of anything that happened in the game. That specifically is the mechanic that I didn't like about it. But choosing it, I honestly don't think there was anything wrong with it. I get that having that be it and having nothing really be influenced by anything, that's the biggest problem. And I agree. And again, that ties directly into, like, people had so many better... That's the ultimate thing. Honestly, the game is great. I love the game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But I think the game that other people kind of created online from all these theories of where the game could go, I think that was a better game than what we got. And so going through those experiences of all these people that had so many amazing ideas that, and also were very, very smart, that found these things in the game that nobody else would have been able to, and growing, that's a big part of these Life is Strange fans. If you call yourself that, I think that a lot of people jumped in with that. I know I did. I know that's when I took it from. I thought this game was going to be amazing from day one. When I first saw the trailer of Episode 1 of Life is Strange, I told my cousin Tyler, I said, this is going to be a special game. And he could even write that's a true thing, because I did say that. And I think I called it because the game itself was special, but what came from it was also special. And I just feel like if you're looking for things that it did wrong, the ending totally was wrong. But also, it didn't do anything with what people had said. And they've even said, like, they respect and they admire all the people that have, taken it and, again, made it, like, larger than the game itself online, but they didn't really do any justice to them because they I think they knew some of the things people were saying. I think they could have done so many different things. I get time travel with the paradoxes and all that kind of stuff. I get that it's difficult and maybe it was just too much for a not necessarily like simple story, but if you already know where you want to go from beginning to end, which we know they do, Don't Nod, comes up with the full story of here's where we want to start, here's the middle, here's the end. That's what they do. So having that, you can't really change it, right, once you start it. So I do get that some things are just unchangeable, but I feel like they left so many opportunities behind. And in my mind, that's the biggest mistake of the first season of Life is Strange is missed opportunities, I'd say, is the biggest thing. So, guys, let me know in the comments below. I thought this was really, really fun. Let me know if you like this. Firstly, what are some things you thought were wrong with Life is Strange? And secondly, did you like this kind of video? What games do you want me to do this on going forward? Let me know. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon and turn on notifications so you know when all of these videos go up. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.